Good evening. I'm District Attorney Marion Ryan. I am joined here today by Chief Brown, Deputy Chief Kirshner, Lieutenant McDade, Burlington Town Administrator Paul Sagarino, Detective Donahue from the State Police, and Assistant District Attorneys Lynch and Harron from the Middlesex DA's office. Shortly after noon today, the Burlington Police received a 911 call from a man in his 40s who is a resident of the Lord Barron apartment complex. The man indicated to the officer that he was experiencing some mental health issues, that he had a knife. The man remained on the line with the dispatcher throughout this entire incident. The dispatcher sent officers to respond here to the apartment complex. Those officers were told to wait outside for the arrival of supervisors and fire and ambulance personnel. While the officers were waiting outside, the first two responding officers, the man came out of the front door of his apartment building, wielding a knife, advancing rapidly towards the officers. Not responding to the officers' commands to drop the knife, one officer discharged a less than lethal weapon. That projectile from that weapon was unsuccessful in stopping the man. He continued to advance rapidly, still wielding the knife. At that point, the second officer fired their weapon, striking the individual. The man was taken from here. Aid was rendered on scene. He was then transported to a local hospital where he is being treated for life-threatening injuries. One of the officers sustained minor injuries in the incident. Both officers were transported to area hospitals. The officers have since been released. This is an ongoing investigation, and the entire incident, which was captured by the dispatcher on that call, is a piece of that investigation. I'm happy to take any questions.
Did he ever hold anyone, was there a woman that he was threatening in the process of all of this?
We don't have any information about that, no. I don't believe that to be the case. There is some information. There may have been a woman who was outside who appears to have been unconnected to anything that was happening. Was just going about her business outside.
So no one else was in his apartment, like children?
As we understand it, there wasn't anyone else in there, no.
What was the less than lethal force? Was it a beanbag gun?
No, it's a projectile that's almost of the material of a racquetball kind of ball, small, rounded object.
So you said, just to clarify, so you said the first officer fired that, and then the second officer fired the firearm?
The first officer, when the gentleman refused to yield to the demands to drop the knife, fired the non-lethal. That was unsuccessful. The man, still wielding the knife, was advancing rapidly on the officers. At that point, the second officer discharged their firearm.
Any previous calls involving law enforcement at this address?
This individual has been living here since about July of 2021, and he was not known to the Burlington Police.
And how was that second officer injured?
With a fall striking their head.
And that officer is still in the hospital?
No, they've been released.
Okay.
Right.
Did this man make any other threats to anyone else here?
Not that we know of at this point. It was an ongoing investigation. As you can see, it's a fairly large complex. Officers will be working to talk to people in the complex.
Is that part of, you said how the officers stayed outside at the beginning. Is that part of, the response? Just talk about that if you can.
Sure. The supervisor who was in the station hearing that call and understanding that there were mental health issues that wanted to be addressed told the responding officers not to enter the building, to wait outside till they could get the ambulance, which would have the paramedics as well as the fire department here. They were outside, out of their cruisers, but waiting by the cruisers outside when the man came out of the building, wielding the knife, advancing on them.
Did he say anything? Could you elaborate on what
That's
he
all
said?
part of it. It's still very early in this investigation.
Did this man address anything specifically he was going through that maybe?
He indicated to the dispatcher that he was having some mental health issues, was upset, and had a knife. Thank you. Thank you.